Good evening. We do not have a member of the Minister Alliance, so we will stand for a moment of silence. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I call the August 7th, 2023 Board of Aldermen meeting to order. City Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Tracy Newcomer.
Here.
Jim Shroud.
Here.
Jeremy Taylor.
Here.
Rachel Kilmer.
Here.
Kelly Netto.
Here.
Pam Pope. And Mayor Dana Webb.
Here, thank you. The next item on the agenda is new business, deletions, or continuances. We do not have any of those tonight, so we'll move on to public comments. Do we have any?
There are none.
Thank you. There are no public comments. The next item on the agenda is a consent agenda. These items that are considered for one motion by the Board of Aldermen by unanimous consent to designate routine items to be approved by one motion. Tonight, we have approval of the July 17th, 2023 Board of Aldermen meeting minutes and expenditures through August 2nd, 2023.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. The next item on the agenda is unfinished business. We do not have any of that this evening, so we will move on to new business. The first item is discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding a resolution expressing concern regarding the reassessment of the property tax and the dramatic increase to the values of the city of Oak Grove. Matt?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So this resolution is in response really to the extraordinary and inconsistent reassessments that we have heard about within Jackson County, and the city of Oak Grove. Media reports have indicated that there's been more than 54,000 tax appeals filed. That's roughly 18% of all properties within Jackson County have filed for an appeal. The average increase for residential being 35% or more. Now, by state statute, the county is required to reassess property every 2 years. Cities within Jackson County are required to set our levy no later than October 1st of each year. Due to the number of appeals, it seems unlikely the county will be able to resolve the number of appeals by that October 1st deadline, meaning when we set our levy, we won't know for sure what our assessed valuation will be. In addition, the state auditor has announced this past Friday a potential investigation into whether or not Tyler Technologies, which is the company the county hired, is qualified to make determinations and decisions on appeals, particularly prior to that appeal being heard by the Board of Equalization as required by state statute. So there's a lot of questions on the process. Therefore, this resolution is requesting the county maintain the 2022 valuations into 2023. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions the board may have.
Thank you, Matt.
Yep.
Does the board have any questions for staff?
What happens if it's not done by the October 1st deadline? What does the city do without hard numbers to work with?
Right, so we will receive from the county our assessed valuation as best as they know it is at the time. We'll then set our levy based on that assessed valuation. We'll submit a pro forma to the state auditor's office. They'll make sure that what our pro forma states our levy is compared to our assessed valuation in our city is meeting the Hancock Amendment. So they send that back to us saying, yes, this does in fact meet your Hancock Amendment, we'll set our levy. There is a process. We've not had to do it, but there is a process if you set a levy and then there is a substantial number of appeals that happen after the fact. If it's significant enough, there is a process then to go back the next year and try to right the ship, so to speak. But it's an involved process. Yeah.
This is just a resolution, right?
Correct.
Okay. I make a motion, we approve the resolution expressing concern regarding the reassessment of property within the city of Oak Grove.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the resolution for the reassessment of property tax in the city of Oak Grove. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. The next item on the agenda is a presentation regarding the NLC, National League of Cities Service Line Warranty Program. Matt?
Yes, Mayor, so this is a presentation. Really, staff's looking for direction from the board about whether or not you want us to go and work with an agreement with HomeServe and bring back to this board. So the presentation, I just want to go through what the NLC Service Line Warranty Program is. So in your packet, you have a presentation that was provided by them. So right off the bat, there's no cost to the city for this program. The program is strictly voluntary. Residents can choose to participate or not in the program. And this program is to warranty private sewer lines and water lines. These are the service lines that would extend from the city's main to the house. So it's their private line. So while these service lines are the responsibility of the property owner, they're often not included in standard homeowners insurance. I would add that some homeowners insurance policies would allow you to add an endorsement or a rider to pay extra to include a warranty for your water service line on your homeowner's insurance. So this agreement with HomeServe, if the board wanted to do an agreement with HomeServe, would not prevent anyone from using their current homeowner's insurance policy or from utilizing their homeowner insurance policy in the future. This would simply be another option for them to use. So according to the information provided by HomeServe, their water line service plan, which would cover the water line from the main to their house, would be about $5.75 per month. The sewer line plan would be $7.75 per month. The coverage includes $8,500 per repair incident, and there's no deductible on this program. They also offer a separate interior plumbing and drainage plan, which would repair interior fixtures if they're leaking, would pay to fix clogged toilets, and would also fix under slab water, sewer, or drain lines. Essentially anything after the main sewer stack into the house or the main water line. So there's three programs. One is the interior plumbing, one is the exterior water line, one's the exterior sewer line. The program would be entirely marketed, managed, and administered by HomeServe. The city wouldn't be directly involved really in any aspect of the program. Because the city manages the water and sewer utility, HomeServe is requesting that we participate in what they're calling a non-exclusive marketing agreement, which would lend our logo to a letter that they would send out to all residents explaining where the city's responsibility begins and ends, where the homeowner's responsibility begins and ends, and then also the particular programs that are offered via HomeServe. Before they send out the materials, according to the agreement, the city would review and approve what's on that sort of cover sheet to the program. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions the board may have about the HomeServe program. I will say that the HomeServe program, the water and sewer line, that's all this program does. It just does water, or it just does sewer, or it just does the interior plumbing. So whichever particular one you do. It has been endorsed by the National League of Cities, NLC, and the Missouri Municipal League.
So the mailers that go out, that's all at their expense.
Correct.
But we have approval, you get to review it before they send it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Since every city is a little bit different about where private ownership begins and ends, they want the city to be involved in this process, and they want to send out the information materials to all of the mailing addresses in town. And because of that, they want the city to be a partner in this marketing agreement. But other than that, we wouldn't be involved in the program at all. It really would be a private product that would be offered to residents. They could choose to use the program. They could choose not to use the program. They could continue to use their homeowner's insurance if they have a rider that would cover for those particular instances.
So, I'm sorry.
Oh, no. I was just gonna ask if we wanted to, because I think this is a huge education piece that's missing for a lot of people. So if we wanted to, is this something that we could put in the water bills now that we have the option to stuff extra things in the envelopes? Or is it like something you really want to keep separate? You know what I mean? Like, if they're writing the wording for it, can we just go ahead and use their literature and our things too? Just for
Yeah,
the
we
education piece?
Yeah, I mean, we could certainly send out a supplemental piece that just informs residents about what is private, what's public. But yeah, the program itself would be a separate mailer that they would pay for that would be entirely on them. There'd be no cost to the city for that portion. But yeah, if we wanted to separately send out some information to educate customers about what is theirs, and then they could choose whether to go through HomeServe or go through their private homeowners insurance.
Right, and
program.
just like put in there, you can call your insurance company, or there's this program out here too, or
Right.
whatever.
Right. Yeah, because some insurance companies offer it, some don't. So
Yeah.
you may have to switch homeowners insurance if you want to do a rider, whereas you could just simply purchase this and keep your current insurance.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and certainly it'd be an individual choice for the customer, right? I mean, based age of their home, age of their service line,
Do you have something, Kelly?
Yeah, so why are they coming to us with this? Like, that feels weird to me. Why, like, just because of the name? Like, is it just a, hey, we know these guys type of situation, so we're good to go? Or, I mean, because any person in Oak Grove could go to this company or any other company that offers this type of service and use it without us being involved at all, right?
they could, there are programs out there that offer this type of insurance. HomeServe, I don't believe that they would sort of provide a one-off service to one person. I think they come into a community if there's a partnership with the particular utility. I don't think.
But there's no other companies out in the world that provide this type of service? Or
There
it's
are,
just
yeah,
this particular-
there are other companies that do it. Typically, if they're only doing water service line warranty programs, they want a partnership with the city or the utility who's managing it. Part of it is that they want to send out information to the whole city, and the other part of it is with the marketing portion of it and the materials. I think they want to make sure that by our ordinances, they're saying what is correct about where it's what city,
Right.
what's private. And then ultimately, I think too, it lends some credibility, right? They want our logo, our branding, a cover letter that has information about us to say that this is a program that does provide insurance for particular areas that are private. So, I mean, there's a bit of a,
Yeah, so yeah.
they want something from us, which is to be a partner in this. The benefit to the city, I suppose, is that they will provide, through their mailers, educational information about what is private, what is public. And then it is a service that some folks may not know about, that they may not know that, one, they can get a rider from their homeowner insurance for this.
But I mean, we could educate, like Rachel was saying, we could educate the staff or the city ourselves on that portion, but
Absolutely.
But
Yep.
they're doing it for free too. They're gonna mail out the stuff.
it just feels weird to tie our name
Are on
to a
page,
company.
I think page 8 of the presentation, are the 44 cities
I
that
saw it,
are
yeah.
involved? Is that an up-to-date?
Yeah,
Or is
this
that
is,
up to date?
yeah, this PowerPoint I
Because several of
got
them are around us.
not long ago. Yeah, I mean,
All of
there's,
Johnson County, Water One sends it out. I mean, well, they partner with HomeServe. So, I mean, the entire Johnson County water supply
Water One, yeah.
is covered by.
By the same company? Really?
yeah, I mean, just locally on that page, if you don't have it in front of you, you've got Kansas City, Odessa,
Wilmington,
Pleasant
Odessa.
Hill, Raytown.
Yeah.
It just seems weird.
Yeah, it's an interesting marketing approach for sure, but I get it.
So are we gonna tell citizens that, hey, we agreed to let them send this to you guys? Or,
Well, yeah, I mean, they certainly could send mailers on their own. I think that the thing is that the part of the information that would be included in that mailer would be a cover sheet some kind saying that this, this is a program, it covers what is your private side. It's true, based on city ordinance that this is your responsibility. There would be some educational points in there. I mean, we could also work with them and say, we want to see exactly what the letter would be, prior to the agreement coming back to you all. We'd also try to get some language in there that says something along the lines of, this is not the only option, not the only game in town, right? You can also get insurance from other sources as well.
I was just looking like at Water One's, like their website, they have a bunch of information about it, and how you can opt out and why they partnered with HomeServe and things like that. We could even put information
that.
like that on the website.
Yeah, we could do that. And like Rachel had said too, to put it on the water bill, just to let them know. Okay. Good discussion.
I think it's cool.
Any other questions about it? Anybody want to direct city staff to do anything, or?
I mean, I guess we need to see like what an agreement would look like, right? Or how does that work?
Yeah, so if the
Yeah.
board's interested in, I mean, so they sent the presentation requesting the city to participate. If the board's direction is for staff to continue to work with them, we'd bring back an agreement.
So,
But yeah, we wanted to get direction from the board if it's something that you're even interested in before we, engage any further with the company.
Yeah.
so I guess I'd make a motion to direct staff to continue conversations with HomeServe regarding a potential partnership on warranty program.
Second?
We have a motion and a second to direct city staff to continue conversation with the warranty program from National League of Cities. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Matt. The next item on the agenda is discussion, consideration, and possible action for Bill Number 23-26 regarding an ordinance amending various sections of of Title II Public Health, Safety, and Welfare, Chapter 220, Emergency Management of the Municipal Code of the City of Oak Grove. Mark?
Thank you, Mayor. This is a proposal for an ordinance to update the emergency management statute, the emergency management codes in city codes. When we did the codification process, the company that did the codification mixed two ordinances, blended two ordinances together, that one was supposed to replace the other. So there's certain things that have come up as problems within this section of the codes. Also, some time has gone by since we examined this topic, and state law has changed on certain items. Good practice has changed on certain items. FEMA guidelines have changed on certain items, and I've tried to go through this and put together a up-to-date set of ordinances or a set of codes for emergency management with different emergency powers and just somewhat different operating procedures. So I hope everybody's had a chance to read this over. It's in two sections. The second section is the clean ordinance. The first section is the old codes with proposed changes. And if you'd like to read this over in detail and come back to it at a later meeting, or if anybody has any comments, we'd certainly take those.
Any questions?
Yeah, so just so I understand, this is one of those things where we kind of just had to tweak some things to match what the state's doing, basically?
Correct.
Okay,
And
Formality.
and federal,
federal
okay.
guidelines
Okay.
too,
Okay,
and correct some problems that the codification company introduced into it.
okay, yeah, because it looks like a lot of just like word, using a different word for the same thing, basically. Okay.
Correct.
Yeah.
Any other questions from members of the council?
I move for first and second reading by title only of bill number 23-26.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second for the first and second reading of the proposed ordinance, which is Bill number 23-26 by title only. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. City Clerk, would you please read the full title of the bill 2 times?
An ordinance amending various sections of Title II, Public Health, Safety, and Welfare, Chapter 220, Emergency Management of the Municipal Code of the City of Oak Grove, Missouri, regarding general updates of the chapter. An ordinance amending various sections of Title II, Public Health, Safety, and Welfare, Chapter 220, Emergency Management of the Municipal Code of the City of Oak Grove, Missouri, regarding general updates of the chapter.
I move for adoption of bill number 23-26.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for the adoption of Bill number 23-26 to ordinance. Any discussion? If not, City Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Tracy Newcomer,
Yes.
Jim Shroud,
Yes.
Jeremy Taylor,
Yes.
Rachel Kilmer,
Yes.
Kelly Neto.
Yes.
Motion is approved, and Bill number 23-26 becomes ordinance number 2085. Thank you, Mark. The next item on the agenda is discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding SFY 2024 Missouri Department of Public Safety grant submission for Flock automatic license plate reader. Chief?
Thank you, Mayor.
Yes.
What I present to you tonight is somewhat of an ask and a tell, an ask in regards to applying for a grant, but I also wanted the opportunity to maybe give some facts in regards to automated license plate readers, because while I may geek out on it, others may not find it very interesting or even really know what they are. So I was putting together a PowerPoint, and then I thought, no, I'm just going to give these to you in slides so that you can see what I'm discussing here or what I'm talking about. A little bit of a backstory: when I began here almost 3 years ago, I was coming here as the manager of license plate readers for another agency, and I was really frustrated with them because we only had mobile units, and mobile units were costly. They broke down. When the mobile unit broke down, the car had to be taken to Jeff City. That was a loss of a vehicle, a loss of technology, and it was just really frustrated with the payment plans and such. So when I saw the wish list that the department had when I began, the license plate readers really went to the bottom because I knew we needed body cams. I knew we needed updated security systems. There were just things that were high up on the list or higher on the list. But as we have accomplished those items, I have to start looking at these again. And I've spent the last year really looking at other departments around us and going and looking at their systems and what they're using. And I feel that we're almost behind the times in seeking them ourselves, but it is what I want to move forward. And so I wanted to give you just an overview of what license plate readers are. And I'll only read this verbatim, and then I'll kind of talk about the others. Automated license plate readers are high-speed, computer-controlled camera systems that are typically mounted on street poles, street lights, overpasses, mobile trailers, or attached to police squad cars, which we will not do. LPRs automatically capture all license plate numbers that come into view, along with the location, date, and time. The data, which includes photographs of the vehicle and objective characteristics, is then uploaded to a central server, and we'll talk about objective characteristics. What it provides technology force multipliers working 24/7 to gather objective evidence and facts about vehicles, not the people driving them or who the vehicles are even registered to. LPRs alert police to wanted vehicles used to solve crime, adheres to all state laws, and they're a proactive approach to reducing crime. So when we talk about objective, we're talking about we capture sedan, truck, we capture a color, we capture a license plate number. The cameras are not looking for, give me all vehicles driven by this gender, this nationality, nothing of that sort. They are not capturing, and they do not give us registration information. We have that ability as a police officer to set at the exit ramp and copy down every license plate and run them as fast as our fingers can. But an LPR does not do that. It is only capturing that car at that moment in time and that information. Where its objective is that if someone has put in, being a law enforcement agency, has put in a want for that vehicle, or the vehicle is reported stolen, or it's an amber alert, silver alert, or even a non-compliant sex offender, that's going to alert us. It's going to alert us to that vehicle is registered to that person, or it has a warrant associated to it. So what it's not facial
Sorry, can I ask a
recognition.
question? Is that in real time?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
That's in real time. It's not facial recognition. It's not tied to personal identifiable information, meaning every vehicle that comes through that isn't wanted, we're not gaining any information about that vehicle that isn't available to just the naked eye. So as long as that person is not wanted, it just copies the vehicle. It's not predictive policing, because that's kind of a negative word sometimes in my career field, that predictive policing says that because of certain factors, we're going to put all of our resources in this one area. And by doing all of our resources in that one area, we start to target those that live in that area. And LPRs are not used for that. It's not used for traffic enforcement. We're not capturing any running red lights or sending out any camera pictures for tickets. The data is only stored for 30 days, and it automatically deletes every 30 days unless we store it for criminal reasons. Meaning we've had an armed robbery, the car was captured on LPR, we then seize that picture to go with the case and it's stored, but all other data is deleted every 30 days. It's not connected to or registered to a third-party database, being Carfax, Department of Motor Vehicle, tow companies. You see a lot of tow companies do use LPR because of recovery purposes, but we're not tied into that. And information is sole use. It's not sold or released outside of our purview. It's insured in that the footage is owned by the agency or city. 30-day retention again, and the short retention period ensures that all data associated with a crime is automatically deleted and unrecoverable if we haven't saved it ourselves. It takes the human bias out of crime solving by detecting that objective data, as well as there are insurers in the system that officers just can't go in and say, I want to go in and see who's driving a red car today. They have to tie any search that they do of the system to not a crime that's being committed, but to an investigation that's already began. So they have to put in the report number. I'm going in to look for this report information. All data is securely stored in AWS cloud with end-to-end encryption. And so what it provides an affordable, infrastructure-free, automatic license plate reader camera system for cities who want to reduce crime with a principled framework. Flock uses vehicle fingerprint technology, meaning the color of the vehicle, the size of the vehicle, to capture hours of footage into a searchable database, and even down to a bumper sticker. So if there's no license plate, then even a bumper sticker would register on a search. And I think I've covered most everything. And then if you go down a few slides, you see the agencies that are using the Flock system here in the KC Metro. Pretty much almost everyone around us. And while we can always call them and ask, hey, can you look at this? That's not a very practical way for us to do things. And so as I was researching this, spending a lot of times with other departments, Missouri DPS came out with their equipment grant, and that is attached as well for your information. And the equipment grant is a reimbursement grant up to $25,000, and it does list license plate readers as the number one item on their list that they do reimburse for. And so I'm seeking your approval to apply for the fiscal year 2024 local violent crime prevention grant, anticipating that if selected, which is what we used to buy the RAP system last year, was the same grant. If selected, we would anticipate making a purchase after the first of the year with those reimbursement funds. So with that, I would answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Chief.
Can it see damage to vehicles? Like, can it be like, this car had a busted up front bumper, if there was like a hit and run recently that you could go look?
The damage would have to be very, very noticeable,
Okay.
yes. Not minor dents and bumps, but if it did have a large frame damage to it, yes, it may be able to capture that.
And I think you said you're not going to put these in the actual patrol cars.
No, these are going to be fixed locations to where I wish to capture that which is coming and going around the Broadway and I-70, or at least the 4th and Broadway area. And also, working with their designers of how they think the system would best work, whether it be the 4th and Salem area or the 12th and Broadway. We have to look at so I use some case studies as I fill out the grant, and I use the Casey's armed robbery as one. That was a vehicle that was committing armed robberies across the state, and they came off of I-70 and then went right back to I-70 to continue their crime spree. That was solved with a flock camera. Columbia actually captured the vehicle on flock, and we were able to tie it to theirs. There are 5 or 6 different armed robberies that those perpetrators committed. But again, it's that I-70 and Broadway corridor that seems to attract most of our bad actors along that route.
And Chief, the way I understand it, Flock has an agreement with MoDOT, so those cameras can be put, because all those roads that you've said,
Yes.
more or less are MoDOT roads.
Yes.
Okay.
They do have an agreement with MoDOT. MoDOT does protect some of their poles, so we have a contingency in there that we have identified 3 areas where we may have to add a pole, and that fee is part of the 21,000
Okay,
that we're requesting of the 25.
thank you.
Does anyone monitor, like, you said when officers want to look something up, they have to tie it to a case number. Do you guys monitor that, or? would
Yes.
there be- Okay,
Administration has the overall monitoring of the system, so we have to guard our own. And then the alerts themselves, the alerts come in through the officer's NDT in their car. But like the captain and I, it would come in through our cell phones or our tablets so that we can monitor what's going on out on the road. So,
and alerts, you mentioned a few different things, like, could it be like a warrant for their arrest?
Yes.
Would that be one too? Okay.
yeah.
Okay,
Now, they're going to be warrants of that they put into the national system.
Okay.
If it's a parking ticket out of Kansas City, no. It's
Okay.
going to be NCIC checks and major warrants.
okay. One last question. How many cameras does this amount purchase?
This accommodates 5 cameras, and 5 was not an arbitrary number. 5 is the number that ties us into the regional system. Cities can go out and, well, really, anyone, even a neighborhood can buy these, but if I bought 2 to 3 cameras, they're only good for the information that we put in. Through Flock, the agreement of 5 cameras, my 5 cameras now turn into 2,000, because I'm now connected to all the cameras in the metro area by one broad MOU. So all of our information is shared. So as crimes move east and west, north and south, we get that information. Now, I'm not getting the alerts every time a stolen car drives through Lee Summit, but I'm able to search that information if that car does something in our community, that we can tie those together. And just for numbers' sake, in 2022, we had 24 stolen autos and 7 recovered stolen autos in our city. And so it's interesting to think of the numbers that could change. We're still going to have those same numbers, but how could we have solved those crimes better, faster, quicker, if we have the right technology?
So just using that as an example, if someone calls and says my car was stolen, then you can go in the system and like type in that license plate number and see if it passed through one of these cameras, basically.
We could, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I
Is
mean,
that
we're
something you
gonna,
would
we're gonna
do?
take the report first, because we have to have an active investigation. And then once we do that, we can put it into the Flock system, and if it's past a Flock camera, we're gonna be able to tell which way it was going.
And you said it's not checking for like, personal information, but if you have like, someone saw the person steal and they know what they physically look like, can you tell that from the cameras? You can't?
No.
Okay.
No, it does no individual facial recognition or personal identifier characteristics to it. It's vehicle-based only.
Interesting.
Thank you, Chief.
So how many, I guess, areas could you cover with 5 cameras? Like, for instance, like at 12th and, or like 4th and Broadway. Could you position one camera in a way that it captures data from multiple directions, or like, would you have to have 4 cameras at one intersection, or?
You know, that's really the discussion of, we've been pulling crime reports and trying to analyze how heavy the north side of Broadway and I-70 is involved. Because the ability to put 2 cameras at 4th and Broadway, let's say in front of Quick Trip and Scooters, I've got northbound and I've got southbound covered right there. And so that's my egress and ingress. And then that does leave the possibility then that I can double lane 12th and Broadway for those that are coming east and west, in and out of the city. So it's really they send the traffic engineer, if we do go with Flock, they send the traffic engineer out with us, and we map it out for the best coverage that we can get for the cameras that we've purchased.
But for like a 4-way stop, in order to get all directions, you need 4 cameras, basically.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
What's the distance that the camera can detect? Is there just 100 foot, 50 foot?
You've got me on that one. I don't know the exact distance out, because I was thinking of more the cone in the sense of how far it goes out, because it's limited to 120 degrees, out. But distance-wise, I couldn't answer that. From the footage I see, it's a wide pan angle, so it's going to capture. Like, I think 12th and Broadway is a 2-camera intersection. And it depends on the angles that you put the 2 cameras, because you're going to get the comings and goings. Those lanes are close enough together that I think that can be handled by 2 cameras. Now, I'm not the traffic engineer, and they may tell me otherwise, and that's the company prerogative, but if we can capture the data in the best available position with 2 cameras, we certainly will.
What is the ongoing cost after initial?
The ongoing cost is $3,000 per camera per year. And the nice thing about that, if I can say that, is that is installation, maintenance, and repair within 72 hours of any malfunction. So they put the cameras up, they insure the cameras, and if one goes down, they guarantee that they'll have it replaced within 72 hours. And that's also the data package. And that was my frustration with the system before, because I paid close to $3,900 a year for maintenance. I paid every time it went down, and then my data package was $13,000 alone just to get the Metro data package. And so I thought that was just very exorbitant for what we were receiving. And Flock had somewhat listened to the complaints of all the police departments and said, this is the best that we can do, in the sense of the maintenance, the equipment, and the data package. So $15,000 a year for 5 cameras.
I'm sorry, for how long?
For 5 cameras.
Oh, for 5 cameras.
Doubling,
fine.
yeah.
Yeah.
And we have that in the budget. I mean, I know obviously you're not going to have future budgets, but like looking at our budget this year, would we be able to cover that?
In growing, yes. I think there are areas that we can reduce cost in other areas to cover the cameras, yes. Because my hope is that if approved for the grant, then that would cover my 2024, and then we start to rearrange for 2025 to continue the program.
With technology changing constantly, what's going to be possibility of next year they come out and say, hey, you got to have a different camera now?
We asked that, and right now, they are adding more features, but not new cameras. So Flock is the license plate readers are only one of 4 different things in the Flock repertoire, if you will. They have gunshot technology that goes with the cameras that we really would not need out here, and it's very costly. They have interfaces between that and private cameras, to where we could contract with apartment buildings, Walmart, or other major retailers that have security cameras, and it then interfaces with their cameras. It doesn't give you the license plate reader technology, but it gives you access to their cameras through your flock system. And so that's kind of where they're expanding. But the cameras, they're pretty comfortable with what they have and where they're at right now.
Any other questions from members of the council? Good discussion, good questions.
Well, it's a good tool to fight crime, it sounds like.
Yes.
I make a motion to approve the grant submission for the Missouri Department of Public Safety grant for flock automatic license plate readers.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, I guess just to clarify. So if you're not approved for the grant, then you're not planning on purchasing it this time?
Oh, I would like to look at my budget and what I could trim and what I can make fit.
That would come back to us.
Oh, yeah, oh, yeah.
We got a motion out right now, and
I
then we
second.
have discussion, so. You seconded it, right?
No, I didn't.
Okay,
did.
we have a
Oh, Jim
you
did.
did, somebody did. We have a motion and a second for the grant submission for flock automatic license plate. Now, any discussion? Do you have any more questions? No? Anybody else? No? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. The next item on the agenda is information reports. Matt, do you have one? Chris, do you have one? No report. Mark? No report. Thank you. Chief?
We have changed a date for National Night Out. It will be September 14th, and that is our advertised date that we will have National Night Out at Webb Park.
Thank you. Corey?
No report.
Kim? Scott?
This is the last week of the pool being open and operations all week long, and the weekends only after this week.
Thank you. Rachel?
No report.
Kelly?
No report.
Jim?
No report.
Jeremy?
No report.
Tracy?
No report.
No report for me. I'm looking for a motion for executive session.
I make a motion, we adjourn into executive session.
You have to say the number.
Number, that's what I was just afraid, I don't have it handy. Hang on. 610021,
Say the rest of it.
3 RSMO.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second to adjourn to executive session 610.0213 RSMO. Any discussion? If not, City Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Tracy Newcomer,
Here. Yes.
Jim Shrout,
Yes.
Jeremy Taylor,
Yes.
Rachel Kilmer,
Yes.
Kelly Netto.
Yes.
Is it all of them? We are adjourned to executive session.